overtime during the pandemic. That is Dwayne Wade using his kid as the pole to hold up the hoop for some indoor sock basketball. And I, for one, am entertained. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm enjoying watching it myself. We miss Dwayne Wade, and it is good to see him playing any kind of basketball any way that he possibly can. Speaking of basketball, under normal circumstances, today we would have been sitting here talking about the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament and looking back on the round of 32. And so we thought we would bring you the top 10 plays that we've ever seen in the NCAA round of 32. And here we go. Jalen is with me at number 10, Kansas and UTEP in 1992. And how about Kansas going down? Jalen against Don Haskins.
I was in college in 1992, and what a lot of people don't realize, so was Shaquille O'Neal and a lot of other great players that were not able to make it to the Final Four.
And number 9 here, it's UCLA and Missouri, and this is the legendary Tyus Edney bucket to win it.
You gotta jump, big fella. You gotta jump, big fella. It's right in your face. Block that. Great move by Tyus Edney, coast to coast for the win.
That kept them alive in the second round. They wound up winning the championship. Number 8, it's Texas A&M and DePaul. This is in the women's tournament here again, the round of 32. And look at the freshman, Chennedy Carter, with a 3 to win it from there.
That was great poise, under pressure, between the legs, knocks down the game winner, and sends DePaul home to Chicago in shock.
Carter would score 37 in the game. Number 7 here, it's Duke and UCF. This is last year, Jalen, Zion's Duke team. He finds a way, and remember the opportunities UCF had on the other end at the buzzer.
I love what Zion brought to the NBA and what he and R.J. Barrett brought to the Blue Devils, but Greeny, I sat on this program and told you that Blue Devils team would not cut down the nets.
And of course, they wouldn't. They barely got through that one and then lost in their next game. Number 6, here she is, the legendary Brittany Griner, blocking 14 Georgetown shots in 2010.
So very dominant, not only because she scored a basketball and grabbed boards, but a defensive force, whether jumping the block shots or standing still.
Number 5, Arizona Gonzaga in 2003, with a ton of stars that we saw in the NBA chanting Fry, Andre Iguodala, Luke Walton, and others. This one went to double overtime before Arizona would win.
Yeah, there was a stacked Arizona team. I love that squad they had with Miles Simon and Bibby that ultimately won the championship. Great to see Luke Walton celebrating right there, the head coach of the Sacramento Kings.
Number 4, how about Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast, the only 15 seed to get past this round ever.
I love that squad. They gave up good shots to get great shots. They played high-flying basketball, threw a lot of lobs, and I can appreciate that.
They beat San Diego State in this one. Number 3, we're only going back 2 years. The 11th seed was Loyola of Chicago, and this was one of the miracle wins. This one over Tennessee on the bucket at the buzzer that sent Sister Jean onto the Sweet 16, Jalen.
This was days after we started this program when it was 3 hours in the morning and I was talking about every sport in every segment. And my grandmother got a chance to defeat Sister Jean as she's now 102 years old and healthy.
I remember it well. Number 2, I have 2 words for you. Stephen Curry at Davidson.
And skills translate. I talked about that with Trae Young. If you're amongst the league leaders in three-point shooting in college and assists, that translates to the NBA. Steph Curry, a 3-time champion, putting in work for the Golden State Warriors, put Davidson on the map basketball-wise.
He had 30 in that game to beat Georgetown. And then number 1, Texas A&M and Northern Iowa playing a legendary game that went double overtime, and the Aggies would eventually win with Alex Caruso on the floor, Jalen.
Alex Caruso has now become a cult legend with the Los Angeles Lakers, putting in work in college for Texas A&M. Don't you miss March Madness, Greeny? Filling out the brackets, having people come on the show, giving us hypnosis to try to let us know who was going to be in the Final Four. Oh, man, I miss
We all miss it.
sports
That's
so
why
much.
we'll bring you as much of it as we can and that little taste of the top 10. Jalen, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Meanwhile, since Tom Brady had his day yesterday, it's only fair for Peyton to get his tomorrow. We will start at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 with 5 of the best episodes of Peyton's Places. Then it's SEC Story, the Book of Manning, followed by the 2015 AFC Championship game between the Broncos and Patriots. And finally, Super Bowl 49 Colts-Bears wraps up the night. Our Peyton Manning Marathon tomorrow on ESPN2. Meanwhile, coming up here on ESPN, it's time for First Take in just a few minutes. Brady versus Bill. Who's to blame? Stephen A. and Max will discuss in just a few moments at First Take, 12 minutes from now on ESPN. Hot takey kind of prediction that you kind of believe, but you are not going to be held to down the road. I started it, and with my plausible deniability today, I make the following prediction. I think Tom Brady is going to get back to the Super Bowl, and I don't think Bill Belichick is. Now, I grant that that is bordering on a preposterous opinion to have, considering Tom Brady probably has at a max 2 or 3 more years to play, and Bill Belichick has a practically unlimited time left to coach, but I kind of believe it. And so with plausible deniability, I stated here today, I refuse to be held to it. With that thought in mind, here is the one, the only, Stephen A. Smith, as we're just minutes away from First Take.
On.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't like that, Greeny. May I take a shot at modifying this segment just a little bit?
Please do.
You should not be able to couch it by saying, I can lean on plausible deniability later. What you want to do is come out and be bold, and then when you're wrong, just sit up there and go like this. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that. That's what you do. I mean, Max does it all the time. Max Kellerman needs to host that segment. He does it all the time, Greeny, all the time.
Okay, it's an excellent point and well taken, and I will take it under advisement with staff. Now, having said that, what do you think of the prediction?
Yeah. You know what? I don't think it's that bold. I mean, when you consider the offense that Tampa Bay has available to it, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Brady, Godwin, when you've got the kind of weapons that they have and you're eliminating 30 turnovers by your quarterback, 30 interceptions by your quarterback. By the way, as Dominique Foxworth pointed out earlier in the show, there were 9 other interceptions that could have easily been had against Jameis Winston. I mean, if they weren't dropped, the man could have thrown nearly 40 interceptions in one season. So when you take that into consideration and you're thinking about or the likelihood that that will be eliminated, because we're talking about somebody in Tom Brady that hasn't even thrown more than 14 interceptions in a season in years, then obviously that gives the defense some time to rest. That gives the defense some time to get their legs out from under them, game plan, etc. Not to mention the fact that they were already 8th in defensive efficiency. So when you look at it from that perspective, I would say, you know what? It's not that far-fetched to think that Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could potentially make a Super Bowl run in the NFC.
And then how about on the other side? You've got Belichick's team right now. His quarterback room has Hoyer, Kessler, and Stidham in it. We don't know for sure those will be the quarterbacks when we get to the season. But what do you expect from them, at least in the short term?
Well, I mean, listen, Bill Belichick is a genius. We all know that. If this man found a way to get to the Super Bowl with those dudes, I think that would hurt Tom Brady's legacy. I think that's the only thing that could hurt Tom Brady's legacy. Even though you've got 6 Super Bowl rings, even though you've got 9 trips to the Super Bowl, 17 AFC division crowns. In the end, with that crop of quarterback that Bill Belichick has to work with, if somehow, some way, with Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson in the AFC, with Big Ben Roethlisberger coming back, if that man manages to take that team to the Super Bowl with those quarterbacks instead of Tom Brady, we're looking at that picture entirely differently. But we all know there's no way in hell that's going to happen. Not with those quarterbacks. No way.
I agree completely. All right, Stephen A., thank you. Awesome to see you, and I will see you in just a couple of minutes. I'll be with you for the start of First Take, which is just a few minutes away here on ESPN, so make sure that you're with us for that. Meanwhile, Damian Woody, I hope he heard the idea here. I hope he heard the concept of the segment, because he tweeted at me, hey, at ESPN Greeny, we need to talk about your Brady-Belichick prediction, bro, and at least he added the show, so that's kind of nice. I'll finish it up this morning with Swagoo and Dominique. People are having at me here, big fella. Marcus, are you willing to defend me with my hot take this morning?
Hell no, I'm not willing to defend you. I already laid it out to you why that plausible deniability. I'm with Stephen A. on that. You should have just went to the next level, GM, when everybody started calling you on and be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I do 1,000 shows a year. I don't remember saying anything like that. And if I was, it was due to some unforeseen circumstances. But I believe Belichick gets to the Super Bowl before Brady does.
But so before. So Nick, if I were to limit this to next season, and I told you one but not both of them are going to make it next year, wouldn't you agree with me? Brady is likelier to make it next year than Belichick?
Absolutely. I like the way you're refining this take. I think next year Brady is in a good situation. That division is going to be tough, so he may not get that first-round bye since we've reduced it to just one first-round bye. But I think Brady stands a better chance right now. If you bring Cam Newton into New England, I'm not sure. Maybe I feel a little bit different. But I do think the AFC, the top of the AFC, is very tough. But the entire NFC, there are a lot of contending teams, and there are a ton of MVP caliber quarterbacks on the NFC side. So it's going to be tough over there for Brady, but I like that. That's a good kind of reformation of your take that is not nearly as embarrassing. And my argument for Belichick is we've seen Belichick win without Tom Brady. We've never seen Tom Brady win without Belichick. We can all go back to the Castle year where they went 11-5. We can go back to him winning with Brissett, winning with Garoppolo. These are all things that we've seen happen before in the past. And he took the Browns to the playoffs. The man took the Browns to the playoffs.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Nick, one more thing, Foxy. Are we forgetting that Drew Brees is in the same conference? Did anybody
MVP?
mention that Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints are in the same? As much as we went crazy about,
Ryan,
oh my God,
MVP?
he needs to stay away from Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Well, he only went to one of the other guys that's in the top 5 conversation of all time. So it'll be tough for Tom Brady to get to the Super Bowl.
I do feel a need to point out for clarification's sake that when they went 11-5 with Matt Castle, that was a 5-game drop-off from their previous season. Tom Brady had gone 16-0 the year before in the regular season.
That's unfair.
So it was
Randy
still
Moss?
a
Ever heard of
drop-off
him?
of 5 games.
G.
Okay,
Ever
hold on.
heard of Randy Moss?
Let's finish it with a laugh, okay? We are using the
That was
hashtag
funny enough.
Rise and Shine, and we're asking people to send us their videos of what they're doing to keep themselves occupied during this time. And you know who responded to us? Derek Anderson, the NBA's Derek Anderson, and that's his 2-year-old son getting buckets, Swagoo. Your thoughts?
Broke the rim.
I love it, man. I know DA, actually. So this is beautiful. Got his jersey on and everything. That's what I'm talking. That's how it all starts. In 20 years, we'll be talking about the next LeBron Anderson.
What do you think, Nick?
I don't know. I'm looking at the physics. Oh, he got the big ball through. I wasn't sure he was going to get the big ball through. This is impressive.
We have run out of time. We will see you tomorrow. First Take starts.